And that's because despite having these essences and things, my gear level is so low that nobody would invite me for anything like a +4 or +5. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TDP with the DK persists. Maybe we could go with that name for today. It is time to start preparing for the Shadowlands with potential new mains. And at the moment, I am going to be kicking off here with the DK, and there's a few things I wanted to talk about in this video for those of you who are returning. I've seen a lot of people making video about coming back, and that is because a lot of people are hyped about the Shadowlands, a lot going on there, and of course looking to come back. And also the word is spreading that right now, kind of, there's some caveats to this, 8.3 is a really, really good time to come back. Now, I said some caveats with that. I want to say, for me personally, it has been really easy. I have about half a day or so played on this character, and you're going to go, wait a minute, that doesn't add up, but I have about half a day played. That doesn't mean that I've only played for half a day today. I've played over the last couple of days. That's it. And in that time, I have a level 80 neck. I'm serious. This is from basically scratch. I have a level 80 neck, which is the cap. I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 rank 3 essences, which are the big bonuses of damage you get to the character. In fact, the only thing this character is lacking right now is items. As you can see, his gear level, certainly compared to a mythic geared character, is pretty awful. But on the way, I have picked up some kind of nice corruptions. I have a 470 belt. I know, for those of you who are aware of what's going on, with some crit on it. And I have some Twilight Dev legs, some tier 3 Twilight Dev legs, I believe, at 50 corruption, that I managed to get from Visions. On top of that, mixed with, like, World Quest rings and stuff. You can leave the dungeon and enter. Why are we doing that? He also said preach. I think he knows who I am. I think he knows who I am. I'm not sure. Something must have been iffy with the dungeon, but whatever. We're in. This is the very first dungeon I have done in all of BFA on this Death Knight. Even many of you are probably aware of the leveling stuff that went on. I did level every single one of my characters. I did use a bug, which Blizzard banned me for. I owned up to it. I did do that. I didn't think they were going to ban people for it, but they did.
Right? Wrong.
And I was caught in that. So I did face my month-long suspension, I think I had. I think it was a full month. But here we are. This is my first dungeon. So we're going to have some fun with this. Hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. I intend it to be kind of really, really fun. I'm hoping we have a good time with this. And we don't make a fool of ourselves. I don't think we should. I have been a main Death Knight for quite some time. Our damage is fine, at least on that pack. We definitely have a carry here, which is cool, with the focused Azurite beam. I'm not sure. I haven't looked. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't looked into anything regarding stats, perfect corruptions, anything like that with my DK. I've been purely focused on essentially getting him ready for getting geared up, and then we'll get into the detail stuff, which I always think is like the best way of handling this stuff. Is not to get bogged down in the minutia too early. Get the basics done. Like when I approach a new character, a fresh alt, however you want to look at it, when I do that, my primary focus is always get the basics done. AP, essences, that kind of stuff that's nice and set in stone. We don't have to worry about it ever again. And then we can move on with our lives knowing we're in a good place, right? That's kind of how I look at it. So that's what I do. And we're currently in that process now. Now, I said there were some caveats. So for those of you who haven't played much of BFA and are like, oh, I didn't like BFA, or maybe you played it at the beginning and now I'm thinking of coming back. Is it as good as you're saying, Mike? Well, it is if you've already played some BFA. And I know that sounds horrible, but it is the case. If you've already played some BFA, then yeah, it is a really good time to come back. But a lot of you won't have played BFA, in which case your mileage is going to vary quite dramatically on that point. And that is because the essences I managed to pick up, I could only get because I already had them on my main character. right? I already had them on my main character. We still overcap resources like a bitch during Empower Rune Weapon. Pretty wacky. And that has enabled me to very quickly and efficiently, and I mean super quickly and efficiently, get my essences and stuff sorted. Like, it wasn't an issue for me. I literally did a few of the world quests, like the new 8.3 world quests, and that was it. I was done. Like, they just naturally flowed into me, and that's because Blizzard had made it very easy. They've boosted the amount of echoes, they're called, the new currency. They've boosted the amounts you get and things like that, and that made it very easy. They've also made gaining artifact, still after fucking 2 years, I call it, or however long BFA has been, it feels like a blur, call it artifact power. But even mixed with all that, it is the case that for me, it's been particularly easy. If you haven't played BFA, it's not going to be that way. The essences that I'm talking about, I'm currently using one called Blood of the Enemy. I already did the horrible bit, which is farming a lot of honor from BGs in order to access that resource. And therefore, I'm able to buy it because I already have it. Now, if you haven't already got it, you still have to, for many of the essences, do that initial farm to get it done. So you're not going to have as easy in a time as I've had, which is definitely going to be off-putting to many of you, I'm sure, because it's not going to be that fun. But if you have done those things, yes, it is a good time to come back. Now, what have I found while coming back? Because, again, this is a Mythic +2. I'm not trying to impress anybody here. Two things I've been torn about with this whole process. One, a lot of people would really like me to do the Fresh Account series, as it's called. Yeah, the Fresh Account series, where we took a brand new fresh character and went at it. I have to be honest with you, I am so not into that from my own face. Like, from an almost, not a scientific, because we're talking about video games, but from an exploratory standpoint, I'm kind of interested in that, just to see exactly what it's like. But I'll be honest with you, I know what it's like. I had to prepare an alt for 8.3 late into 8.2, which still has this grind that we're talking about is now skippable, right? Who missed one? Somebody missed one. And I did it then, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. I really, really detested it. So I'm not into doing it again. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm just not. I've been talking about it for, at this point, we're probably talking months of discussion, bringing it up with the stream, like trying to get something in my mind as to why I would possibly do this thing. And every time I come back to the same response, that I'm doing it purely because I think people want me to do it. And that is a terrible reason to do actually anything. Like, there's no getting away from it. That is a really terrible reason to do a lot of stuff, is just because you guys want me to do it. If I'm not into it, you're not going to get the kind of video series that you're hoping to get out of it. You know? That's not what's going to happen. You're not going to get that video series that was full of hope and optimism and had a big, clear purpose, like we had with the first one in Legion. Because, one, I really enjoyed every aspect of Legion. Making a fresh character, see how quickly I would get the Legos, see how that would affect things. And also, at the time, we were really fighting what I would consider to be the big war against the guys who were making excuses, the excuse makers as to why they can't do stuff. And I think we did go some way to showing a lot of you. I mean, that video series was watched by about 500,000 people. I think we did go some way to alleviate the truth of the matter to those people, which was that, you know, you're talking a lot of shit in a lot of cases. Now, I will say, and I never hide from the truth, is getting into a dungeon in here. This dungeon you're seeing here took me over an hour. And that's because, despite having these essences and things, my gear level is so low that nobody would invite me for anything like a +4 or +5. So that's something I was prepared for. I'm not surprised. I've been through it before. It is still the nature of the beast, and there is a reason for that, is to bump my eye level up. Of course, I have 0 rated at IO score or whatever, because I've never done a dungeon in BFA on this character. The other, so I was prepared for that, and I could fight through that and we know that we've done it in the past. We've done it in Legion. The other aspect of it that's been very interesting is I streamed this character because of like we're preparing new mains, and I still have Shaman on the board. Monk is still definitely on the board. Warrior is definitely on the board. Paladin is still kind of keeping its hand in. I'm a little interested in Rogues, but Rogues aren't available for much testing in Shadowlands right now. So one of the big questions I have is to be boosted or not boosted, because I am in that fortunate position, very fortunate position, that doing this, what you're seeing right now, I don't have to do this. Like, at all. I don't have to do this. I do have to chase this stupid fucking pig, which is definitely annoying. Yay. I don't have to do any of this. I can... 8.3 has been so popular, especially with people who continue to play it for the reasons we just discussed, that right now my entire guild is constantly just making and capping new characters and gearing them within the space of a few days. And they're doing it incredibly efficiently. And because of that, there's a lot of groups going that are doing 15 carry runs, you know, with boosting on a couple of our characters and then swapping over. All that is happening. There's a lot of room to just ignore all this and just go into like straight into 15s, get the best possible rewards, make armor setups. All that stuff is available, and I could do that via stream as well. And one of the big things I had to deal with this morning was a lot of people like, let's just boost you in a heroic raid. Like, the stream wants to do that. They want to raid together. They want to do things like that. A part of me really doesn't like that kind of thing. Not for the fact that it's easy. Like, if I wasn't streaming and whatever, then I would obviously do that. Like, if I was just a member of the guild or whatever, or, you know, if I was in that other position, then of course I would do that. Like, why would I do it any other way? But I do feel like it's important in some respects to not do that, to get a better idea of what is happening. I have never done this boss as melee. Do I actually have to go out for Sharknado? Probably not. Let's move that on to the Demon Hunter. Your problem. Luckily, I do know how sharks work. He's just darknessing it. I've got to respect that. Can I DPS this from here? No, I'm getting hit. Ah, fuck it. Doesn't do any damage on +2. What the fuck? Just being a big old softy pants. Big old softy pants. Let's not do that. Our damage is low enough single target anyway. We are built to AoE, but it is a dungeon, so I'm fine with that. Part of me doesn't want to do it. You might think, why? Because I imagine some of you said, like, dude, if I could do that, I would do that every time. Like, I would do that without question. And you're not wrong by any means. You're not wrong. Like, that is exactly how I would play if I was just getting my characters ready. 1, it's faster. 2, I play with my friends. It's all positive, right? It's all positive. But I gotta say, 1, I really don't like being boosted. Like, I never have. Never have. It very rarely happens, but that's partly because I don't like it. So offers of it, I tend to, and I've always kind of said no to, if I'm being honest. I've kind of always said no to them in one form or another. And the other side of it is, it's really boring. I know that sounds dumb, but it is. And I'll give you an example is, you're like, well, you've got all this, like, 470 loot. Clearly you got boosted for that. You're right, I got boosted in Visions. Because that's the way it is done now. If you've got access to those resources, that is exactly how it is done. You go in a vision, you die on the floor. I have a clip of it, I think. You go in a vision, you die on the floor, and then your friends do the vision, and then you just get rezzed at the end, even on a 5-mask run, and you get all the stuff. And it's super boring. Like, literally when Finn was doing it for me about a week or so ago, when I logged in, I was like, oh, I might get the DK ready. He's like, okay, I'll boost you. I was like, you know, you forget how long these things take. You do forget how long these things take to do. When you're being boosted, you literally lay there for like 20 minutes just doing nothing. It's really dull. It's really dull. Now we've got a little bit more gear. We try to compete, but it turns out I'm not particularly good at being boosted either. I put it down to me not really getting boosted, but I'm not good at it. Let's put it that way. And I was trying to help, and it went pear-shaped and all this kind of stuff. But it is the best way of playing, I suppose. So I don't know how you guys feel about this kind of stuff. Like, do you guys like being boosted? Hey, we did freehold. Woohoo! Yay! Yeah, he is. What does it drop? 435? My god. Oh, I got loot! Look at that! I got a belt! Well, fuck me. Fuck me. Anything for trade? Need? Do you need? Do you need? Do you need? You don't need. I'm gonna keep playing around with this. Where to next? Oh, he's French. You want to do another one? Motherlode. Do they want me to go to Motherlode? I'll do +5. I don't mind. Is everyone staying? Curious. No, someone left already. He was out. He was out. You only get 30 echoes. It must scale with level. My purpose here is... There's a couple of questions I think I want to answer while the guys are doing stuff. These probably due their own video, but I think it's worth talking about now. Is people were... One of the big questions people asked me is like, why are you getting a character ready for Shadowlands? Why are you getting things like essences? Why are you getting things like corruptions, which we'll obviously do in the end? Gear. What's the point? You're going to lose it all like immediately into Shadowlands. I think it's really important that everyone remembers that Shadowlands is a linear leveling experience. It's a linear leveling experience. I'm not going to do this. I have to. Thanks for run, dudes. I have to jet. To jet. Sure, you can replace easily. Don't want to waste their time. You got to remember that Shadowlands is going to be a linear leveling experience, which means it's probably going to be heavily phased. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do whatever you can now in the months leading up to Shadowlands to be ahead of the curve. Because what's going to happen is, and by linear leveling experience, what I mean is unlike where we got to choose which zone we started in, this time we're going to go in a very specific order. And I think it's Bastion, Maldraxxus, Ardenweald, Revendreth. I know Revendreth is last, I know Bastion is first, but we're going to have to go through that route, right, on the way to the level 60. Which means the more gear you have, the better your damage is. All those things means you move ahead of people, which means you have access to, and it snowballs very quickly because the quest mobs are up already. People aren't fighting over them, so you move past that quicker, and then it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. And what you'll find is if you can get really quick at the start, because the leveling race is always really fun. I know many of you don't want to take part in that, that's fine. But if you are into the leveling sort of go, and let's get these characters ready and raring to go as quickly as possible, which I enjoy, it's part of the excitement of a new expansion, then you want to be ahead because it just becomes so much easier. And you can almost end up, and it's happened to me several times, where you have basically a whole zone to yourself. There'll be like 2 or 3 people in the whole zone. And that means that you just have this free reign of an almost empty theme park to play in. But you need to get ahead. Gear is a massive contributing factor to that. I do want to talk more about this subject, though, because right now there's a very dangerous thing that's going to happen at some point. I'm interested in how Blizzard is tackling it, is that right now we have some people, like Warlocks, for example, who have ludicrous amounts of haste, for example. At some point in the Shadowlands leveling process, they're just going to cut that off. Corruption's no longer going to work. And oh my god, it's an anus. That's an anus. It's going to be that case where they just cut it off. And that's going to feel way worse than losing Legion legendaries like we did at 116 or 106 or whichever it was. That it's going to feel so much worse. And I'm wondering, here's my tinfoil hat theory, and I'll throw it in here now, that maybe Blizzard will... We've seen them nerfing corruptions recently. They nerfed Gushing Wounds today. Gushing Wounds has been around for months and months and months, but now it's a problem. They also nerfed some other corruptions last week. Now it's a problem, and it's very weird. I'm wondering over the next few months, they're gradually going to start drawing back on strength of corruption in order to make that process easier, because right now there are some classes that have like thousands and thousands more secondary stats than what their character should have because of just corruption, let alone essences. And that's going to be a real bad moment for those guys. And considering they've given accessibility to everyone, and we have months left of BFA, in which case people will be, even the most casual of the casual will be able to do that. It's going to be interesting to see how Blizzard tackles it. So I wonder if they're going to start gradually nerfing it or ease it back throughout the levels. So maybe every level drops its effectiveness somewhat by like 20%, so that by the time you hit, say, 55, it's kind of all gone. Something along those lines. We'll see. We'll see. I'd like to see your theories on what they're going to do with that, because I don't think they want a repeat of what happened in BFA, and right now it's looking to be worse. Like, losing the Legion Legendaries was bad. Losing some of the corruption effects for some classes is way, way worse. So we'll see what happens there. I'll do a bit more DK, but I'm going to be also sorting out the monk, and I kind of want to keep you up to date as how this experience has gone. I haven't decided whether I just want to turbo boost this character with guildies and just have it done in the space of like a day, which I could do, or whether we kind of want to suffer through stuff like that, although that was really easy. It's clearly too low for already my DK's gear, really. So we'll see where we're going to go. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you're thinking of coming back to BFA, I hope that helped you out with your decision a little bit. Thank you. Bye-bye.